Equity is one of those concepts that may seem tricky to wrap your head around at first, but when you understand how it can work for you, it's a gold mine. You just need to know how to avoid running out of it. Hi, I'm Aaron Christie David, mortgage broker and founder of Utilise Wealth. I specialize in helping Australian families start out and scale up their investment property portfolios. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Equity is one of the best weapons any property investor can leverage. If you have enough equity in your home or investment property, you may be able to use it to buy another property. And that's how you can scale up your property portfolio without necessarily having a cash deposit to secure another loan. It's not the most straightforward topic to understand, so I suggest checking out my explainer video on equity where I break down exactly how it works and how you can leverage it. In today's video, I want to talk about how to avoid running out of equity. The trick to building a portfolio is having enough available equity to keep scaling up. So knowing how to utilize equity to your advantage is a critical component of this strategy. So stay tuned. But before I get into it, I just want to preface that this video is general in nature and not intended to give advice. I always suggest chatting to a qualified mortgage broker who can give you the best guidance for your situation. There's a great saying, start with the end in mind. This is super relevant when you're planning your first purchase. Thinking about how much deposit you want to contribute is super important. If you use all your cash, you'll have to wait for this property to get revalued to pull any extra equity out. If you have ambitions to buy another investment property pretty quickly, you may want to consider paying a smaller deposit as possible, for example. Yes, banks and lenders will always tell you to aim for at least a 20% deposit to avoid paying lenders' mortgage insurance. But if you potentially could take a deposit and split it across two properties, surely LMI is just a slight trade-off in the bigger scheme of things. I know we have all been conditioned to avoid paying LMI, but I actually think it can be beneficial. And I've done a video showing you why. So make sure to check that one out. My second tip is to get multiple valuations done on your property. This is super important to understand as an investor. Each bank or lender generally has its own valuation system, but your goal is to try and get your property valued as high as possible. So ask your broker to run different valuations across different lenders. Think about it. If one bank values your property at $950,000 and another bank gives you a valuation of $1.1 million, that's a difference of $120,000 of available equity. That's a game changer. Next on my list of tips is to know which banks will restrict the amount of equity you can pull out. If you watched my equity video, you'd know that there are some banks and lenders that won't allow you to maybe access all of the available equity in your property. For example, if you want to pull out over $100,000, there are particular lenders that can restrict your ability to pull all this equity out. This can seriously limit your options, especially if you're tight on borrowing capacity with specific lenders. Remember, investing is often referred to as a game of finance, so it's important to get this piece of the puzzle right. My fourth tip is to avoid cross-collateralisation. I cannot stress this enough, and I'm certainly not the first broker to say this, and I'm sure you've heard it from other investors, buyer's agents, accountants, and financial planners, and there is a very good reason for this. By having your properties linked, their values will constantly be tied to one another, and this strategy may hinder the growth of your portfolio. Moving on to tip number 5, add value to your property. The higher your property is valued, the more equity you can get out. Adding value can either mean cosmetic renovations or structural renovations. You could do a quick lick of paint, update the flooring, and spruce up your kitchen and bathroom. And you'll see what a difference it can make. And if you're able to add a bedroom and/or a bathroom, this can significantly increase the value of your property. And then, once you've done some sprucing up, I'd recommend that you get a valuer out there to see what you've done and to revalue your property. There is no doubt that this will boost your property's value and in turn increase your available equity too. And lastly, consider using a guarantor loan. I definitely acknowledge this is not necessarily an option for everyone, but it may be something worth exploring. A guarantor loan essentially involves having a family member provide extra security for your investment loan. Instead of using your own cash deposit, your family can provide their property as collateral. So the benefit is you won't necessarily have to use or come up with your own deposit, which can give you options for your next purchase. So there you have it, my 6 tips for freeing up some additional equity. I hope this has given you the nudge that you need to access that equity and start growing and building your property portfolio. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more property investing tips. We'll see you next time.